Hello and welcome back to Seaside Garage. I'm going to do something about these rusty wheel arches on the Princess. They are rusty, but they are not bad at all. They have been fixed some years ago, not by me, but haven't really been treated after that. Some paint has been put on, but not a lot. So there's a lot of surface rust. What I want to do now is to grind it all away. It will be difficult in the welds, but I will do my best. And then I'm actually gonna fill it with some filler and then some epoxy primer and then some paint on top of it. I'm going to try to blend it in as good as I can, but I don't want to mess up the graphics up here. So I rather have a visible line down here than messing this up. Normally what I do is to epoxy and then filler and then paint. And it seems to be a subject of opinions if you go to clean metal with a filler or on top of epoxy. But today I want to try the method with filler completely on the metal, just to try it and see if it works. It should do, of course, because that is actually the instruction on the fillers. But the main reason why I'm going to do it is it's late evening now, so I can grind all this down, fill it, sand it, and give it the epoxy paint, and then tomorrow I can paint it with the other paint. If I had to epoxy first, I wouldn't be able to fill before tomorrow, and then I would have to prime again, and then it takes more time. So I'm going to try this, because if that works, it'll be fine. So I'm going to mask up and start to grind all this down. So by using different stuff to clean up the metal, and even this spot sandblaster, I am now happy with the result. It's not perfect, and it is extremely hard to get this kind of rust out of a metal panel without grinding it completely down, especially because the welds got so many crevasses and corners that are really difficult to clean. This is where I use the sandblaster to try to blast it as clean as possible in here. So it is good enough. But I would not be surprised if rust pokes through in a couple of years. But with epoxy primer and all that, it should last pretty long, I think. I think it's ready for the primer now. I've used some filler. I think it's 4th time I applied filler and sanded it down. It takes a while. It could be better also. It is one of those places where I don't really have the patience, but I think this will be okay at least. So now I will activate the 2K primer. Like that, and then shake for a long time and put a really good mask on, because this is really toxic. So this is it. See you tomorrow. Good morning. It's the day after and I'm wet sanding the epoxy primer. If some of you thought that I would going to have some overspray problems because of my lack of because of my lack of covering stuff up. You were right. It's a very common seaside garage mistake, but it will do. It will be fine. This is not perfect, not at all, but I think it will be good enough to get a decent result at least. I could have done some more in here, but I'm not gonna worry too much about it because it won't be visible with the door closed. The door itself is really rusty, so there's bigger problems than a bit of faulty paintwork in here. But I would like to have the arch looking pretty good. The arch liner right here is dented quite a lot from spot welding because the guy who made the rust, the guy I bought it from, apparently has a real resistance welder for spot welding. It looks that way, really cool. I have to visit him sometime and ask him about that because I would love to have one of those. But that dents the panel a little bit. I could have used some more time on the filler work on that, but I have a chrome list that I want to put on here so it won't be visible, so doesn't matter. I'm okay with the result now, but before cleaning everything up and covering everything a little bit more up before the green paint, I'm just gonna key the surface for the paint to have something to grab onto. I'm gonna use some Scotch-Brite pad kind of thing and just scratch up the surface. And then I'm gonna clean it up and then the paint should be ready to come on. So you might notice that this is the other side of the car. This is because I actually sanded through a couple of places on the primer on the other side. So I have applied some new primer that needs to dry before I can paint it with this. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do on this side and do the same on the other side later in the day. As far as I know, this is a single stage paint, so it doesn't need any clear coat over it. So I hope that's the case. Also, they told me they could have a hard time mixing the paint right, because I think it was because they use some different chemicals now and therefore the paint shades could be slightly different. I'm not too worried about that because the color on the car is most likely not as it was back in '77. So it has been, because the weather has most likely changed the shade slightly, but hopefully it will just match good enough. So let's hope for that. Let's go. Now I don't know if you can hear me, but maybe you noticed before that my filters were missing on the mask. I noticed that instantly when painting, and I actually held my breath. But now they are on and ready for coat number 2. Remove the plastic straight away to avoid any edges. Not looking that bad. It needs to dry out before we really can see. And then I need to polish the top bit. I don't think you can even hear me at the moment. But let's let it dry for now. So this is the result. It's not perfect, but it is a big improvement over the over the bare rusty metal, of course. I like it. What I really like to see is that the color match seems pretty good. As you can see, there is some difference, but I think when this is polished, it will be all right. That's good news because that means that I can order more of those cans if I need it, because I do need to paint the front fenders as well, and maybe some other stuff. And this is all right. Like almost all the time when I do stuff like this, I should have used a lot more time on the filler and the sanding. I really have to work on my techniques on that and my patience. But this is fine for now. I like it. You can see a lot of bubbles around here. that is on purpose. That's the spot welds. We're going to have a chrome list on top of that, so that doesn't matter. So this is pretty good. And the other side is also painted. This turned out a bit worse than the other side, actually. I have a lot more filler problems around this area. So this is really not perfect, to say the least, but it's fine. And also, I would like this car to look good, but I have no intention on getting this car to look mint, not at all, because there are rust in the bottom of the doors, and the other door has had a huge dent in this area that is filled with filler and all that. So this is just going to be as good as possible without breaking the budget, and I think this ticks the box. I really had hoped to also fix the paint on these. And again, there is going to be a chrome trim on the edge right here, so it's actually almost not visible, but up here it at least needs to be fixed. So I'm just going to paint everything. But I found out that I have to fix some rust down here before doing that. So we'll do that at a later stage. Most likely we'll have to order another can of paint for that. The bottom of the sill is not perfect either. There are some rust spots that I need to treat. But my plan for that is to paint it with black stone chip paint and then maybe put some green over top of it. And then there's going to be a chrome trim all the way down here as well. So that will be fine. And then there are some rust on the doors that I will fix at some point. I now have the Niva on the road, which is awesome. I just noticed today that the A112 Abarth has developed a quite bad leak from the fuel tank because of rust, so I have a problem there. I will most likely need another tank for that. Taking that tank off and changing it will most likely reveal some rust that I will need to take care of. So I have a feeling that the A112 is going off the road for a while now. That means that I would really like to get one of my other cars on the road so I have a backup. And yeah, also because it's a lot of fun. I am considering getting this through an MOT because I think it's really close. I'm almost tempted to say it only needs to get the blinkers working. They are not working. And then I think it's pretty much good to go. Most likely there are some rust that I need to fix and some other stuff, but it is driving pretty nicely. It's braking pretty nicely. I'm going to service all that stuff anyway, but yeah, some of you wrote, why fix it if it ain't broke? And yeah, it makes sense. So I'm going to change the brake fluid and all that, of course. And I need to service something here because it's not supposed to be this hard to turn. So yeah, there's work to be done, but maybe this could be fun just to have a number plate in case the Niva breaks down. Then I can swap and use that as a daily. But I also have the Metro and I also have the Datsun that are pretty close, but this is the closest one. So maybe I'm going to put some number plates on this one. Also, I really like to have running projects. It's a lot of fun to take them for a ride from time to time. Anyway, a small step for the Princess. I just got some new tires for this. Old used tires actually that are better than these. It's too expensive for me to buy tires for all my cars, so I'm trying to find them cheaply and used. The front ones are okay, so I'm going to change the rear ones in the next Princess video. Most likely I will do that myself using my old tire machine and the balancing machine that I have. So that will be the next Princess video most likely. But this will be all for now. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your support and see you in the next one.